I'd been out with the livestock in the cold and the wet all my life. I didn't know why anybody would want to get out in the cold and miserable weather to ski. I had no intention of building a ski resort.
To 26% vertical all the way down.
We're the largest in North America.
Would you call them snow maniacs, powder maniacs?
Ski powder day after day and not have to wait for the next snowstorm.
I don't think that a man could ask for anything more.
Hidden deep in the backcountry above Ogden Valley, Powder Mountain has been a secret paradise for some of the most die-hard skiers from around the world. With over 500 inches of natural snow per year, approximately 7,000 acres covering 3 mountains, Powder Mountain has the most skiable terrain of any ski resort in the U.S. But it wasn't always that way. Fred Cobabe, Alvin's father, was in the livestock business, grazing sheep and cattle. To expand, he acquired every piece of land he could get his hands on, in and around Eden, Utah, beginning in 1903.
Every time there was a piece of property that come up for sale, he would try to get it off of the people, and he always paid him a fair price for their properties.
As a young boy, Alvin went into the livestock business with his father, helping his dad build the ranches, farm the land, and herd the livestock. And by 1948, Fred Cobabe had amassed over 7,000 acres of land. Times were good. The two had developed a prosperous ranching business, and Fred helped his son start acquiring his own property. The future was looking bright. But then, tragedy struck. Fred Cobabe was killed in an automobile accident.
That put me in a real bind. I didn't know what I was going to do.
Alvin spent the next several years paying off the debts from the land and running the family business. But he wasn't satisfied and decided it was finally time to pursue a childhood dream.
I wanted to be a doctor, and I thought it was going to be a lot more fun to deliver babies than it was to deliver calves out in the wet weather, and sheep and lambs.
And at the age of 41, Alvin Cobabe was accepted into medical school at the University of Utah. While Alvin was preparing to move down to Salt Lake City, several of his friends asked if he could take them on one final horseback ride on his land to the top of the mountain.
And one of them looked down and he said, Snow Basin has their Wildcat run, but that run would make a panther pitch. Another one made the remark, Cobabe, why don't you build a ski resort? But I didn't want to build a ski resort. In about 3 weeks in September, I was going to start medical school. And I didn't pay much attention to them. I just shrugged my shoulders, and at that time, a voice, just as plain as could be, said, build it. Just 2 words, build it.
And with that resolve, Alvin set out to build a ski resort on the land his father had spent a lifetime acquiring. But there was only one problem. The banks would not loan Alvin the money to build a ski resort.
I went down to the Bank of Utah to get my loan, and they decided they were not going to give me the money. My dad had a little sign that hung in his office that said, "We've done so much with so little for so long that now we believe we can do anything with nothing." And that must be the attitude that I had when I went in to build the ski resort. I thought I could do anything with nothing.
And just 1 year later, Alvin Cobabe had built from scratch the mountain's first ski slope.
It had a rope that drug on the ground and then went back on rollers up the hill. We built this little toe, and it was the first lighted hill, or the only lighted hill at least, at that time in the state of Utah. The kids, they liked it, and then their parents would get mad at us because they was wearing their gloves out, hanging onto that rope and pulling them up the hill.
The rope tow was a smashing success.
Now we had to figure out where and when and how we should build the ski resort.
Still without financing in place to expand, Alvin used his time off from medical school to visit other ski resorts. He befriended resort experts Nelson Bennett from Sun Valley and D.R.C. Brown from Aspen. D.R.C. Brown flew in to help Dr. Cobabe assess his land.
And after we'd been over the whole area, he said, "Cobabe, that is probably the finest ski terrain that I've ever seen anywhere." And he had been the manager of Aspen for over 20 years at that time, so I thought he knew what he was talking about, and so I thought things would be all right.
Powder Mountain is geographically set apart from all other ski resorts in Utah. Rather than being located at the base of the mountain, it's located at the top of the mountain. Its unique positioning, combined with its elevated location, creates a quality of skiing not to be found anywhere else in North America.
People like to be at the top of the mountain because it's where the views are, and it's nice to be up there. It is a good snow that you have on Powder Mountain.
Alvin spent the next 5 years dividing his time between medical school, running the rope tow, and researching other ski resorts. Meanwhile, the word was out. Powder Mountain had the lightest and driest powder of anywhere else in Utah, and people wanted to ski it. And as the overwhelming popularity of the rope tow grew, Alvin was finally able to secure a loan to build the ski resort.
Zions had just built a new bank in Ogden, and in less than a week, Zions had found the money for me to build the resort.
The first thing we had to do before we could do anything else was get a road up the canyon. It was just really a fairly rugged horse trail to get up to the top of Powder Mountain.
So Dr. Cobabe got to work, turning a rugged horse trail into a paved cement road, and investigated the type of lifts he wanted to build.
They set up a framework on an old Ford and had a chair hanging from it, and get somebody out in the road and see how fast they could go down the road without knocking the guy down and get him into the chair.
One of the lifts that I wanted to do was a triple chair. There were no triple chair lifts in Utah at that time.
While the chairlifts were being built, Dr. Cobabe arranged to take some of the more anxious skiers up the mountain on an old tractor.
We started the cat skiing in 1965. I bought a little Sprite cat. We'd take groups of people up to go cat skiing up on the mountain, and just let them ski it and find out where they like to ski, and get an idea of where lifts should be built.
The resort officially opened in February 1972. It was a warm, quaint, and family-oriented environment. Dr. Cobabe's wife, June, helped out any way she could in those earliest years.
June was the first chief cook and ticket salesman. She had a 10 by 12 little shack where she sold the tickets. Well, the soft drinks she kept out in the tub to get them cold in the snow, and she cooked on the outside grill. Started helping make it a success.
Some of the earliest skiers that came to the mountain decided to stay and work there, and many never left. Chuck Panter and his wife Joanne were two of the earliest employees at Powder Mountain.
You know, it was a family-owned operation, and everybody was on a first-name basis, and people like that.
In the old days, I took all the pictures that they now take in tickets, so I did know everybody by name.
We tried to run it in a manner that we thought would keep them happy and treat them like they was family and like they should be treated.
Dr. Cobabe carefully expanded the ski runs. His approach was unique and intuitive to the skier.
You make a small run and then watch where the people ski, and that's where you make your runs. It's just like a college campus. You can build a sidewalk, but the people will go where they want to walk. You shouldn't get any run set in less than 5 years of watching how it's skied. Enlarge upon where the people show you where to go.
So Dr. Cobabe got in a small Cessna and searched for the perfect location to install the next chairlift. After spotting the ideal area by plane, he was later unable to find it on the ground.
And it was hidden. Why we call it Hidden Lake is because it's so hard to find. We built that in 1976. It's over a mile long, 6,000 feet. It was the longest lift there was in Utah at that time when it was built. We opened the Hidden Lake lift on New Year's Day. It was just like ants on migrating, coming over that hill to try that new lift out. And it worked like a charm. It just run great.
With Powder Mountain now in full operation, Dr. Cobabe was able to spend more time building his medical practice and had set up an office in Ogden, Utah. But as the crowds at the resort continued to grow, so did the time, effort, and expenses it needed to continue operating successfully.
When we had the ski resort running up here, it got to be an awful financial burden, and I had to come up to manage it on a kind of day-to-day basis. It needed more attention than I could give it, and still practice medicine at full time and take care of my patients too like I ought to. There was no one else that would have kept the ski resort going. I needed to do that in order to keep it in operation.
And in reality, the popularity Powder Mountain was experiencing had only just begun. With 3 chairlifts in full operation, skiers were finally able to taste true Powder Mountain. And did they ever taste it? With its vast areas of wide open terrain, skiers would traverse off the main runs and into the backcountry.
It was my job to go yell at them, tell them to come back.
But the skiers didn't listen. They wanted to experience the pristine dry powder on ungroomed and untracked runs. Dr. Cobabe studied this and finally embraced the idea.
I mean, that's where the real change was, because we just started growing out and out, and pretty soon we're buying a pickup truck.
And that's when we started Powder Country.
With over 2,000 acres of backcountry skiing, skiers would now have the option to, rather than ski back down to the chairlift, traverse off the main runs into wide open powder country.
People really like to ski it. It's not tracked. They can go through the trees.
And you could probably get maybe 100 turns in.
There's essentially 3 to 4 separate bowls there that are all powder all the time. Some of the best skiing anywhere in the world.
And at the end of their dream run, they're picked up and taken back to the resort to do it all over again.
You're brought back by bus, which is unique. Don't know of anybody else that does that in the industry. And people love that. You know, they love that niche.
Aside from the spectacular skiing, the true heart, soul, and character behind the success of Powder Country has come from the hard work and dedication of Richard Wood, commonly known among locals as Woody. Today, Powder Country is known as Woody World.
It's called that because Woody has been here as long as anyone can remember. He punches in November, and he works 16 hours a day.
I worked up from a cattle truck, and now I have 6 buses. And we bring them in. But Woody World, it's Powder Mountain. It's not Woody World, it's Powder Mountain.
That's what people think of it as, instead of Powder Country, is Woody World. He's the man.
Powder Mountain has also stayed true to its roots by offering cat skiing. With several modern cats, skiers can be taken anywhere on the mountain their heart desires.
I've had people from Europe, South America, other parts of the United States, Canada, that when they're cat skiing with me, they tell me that this is the best snow they've ever skied. And these are folks that have skied many places, and it's just the way the powder comes in up here, it's hard to beat.
Powder Mountain was one of the first ski resorts to allow snowboarding.
We really got going in the year 86, 87. At Powder Mountain, it's such a huge open area. It's perfect for the snowboard industry. And I believe that's why we do so well with the snowboarding here today.
You're all alone. You don't have the big crowds. We're all alone, and there's untracked acres and acres of untracked snow to ski. If we have a big snowstorm, the difference is here, after 4 or 5 days, we're still skiing that excellent powder. The other resorts, by 10, 11 o'clock in the morning, it's gone. It's gone.
We're the largest in North America, but it's skiable. It's a skiable terrain, and people love that.
Powder Mountain continues to innovate, offering such adventures as helicopter skiing and snow kiting.
I've met people from Italy. I have people come in from Scotland. I have, you name it, France, England, and they come in. Canada, a lot of people. All across the United States they come in, and we have a good relationship with all of them. All you have to do is come here once. I've known people that's come in here for just for a weekend, and they've gone back home. They packed up their bags and they've moved out here and bought a place out here and are working out here. To me, they're all celebrities. They're all fine people, and we're just up here to take care of them.
The people that I've worked with here, there's a lot of the good people still there.
We are one big happy family.
I like the huge terrain, the family atmosphere, the great skiing, the great people that are here every day. It's hard to put one up there, and they're all good.
Getting up in the environment and up in the aspens and the pines and watching the inversion down in the valley where people are breathing smog, and it's 20 degrees warmer up here, and you're getting a suntan and looking down that's really quite enriching to a person's attitude.
The powder, that's what it's named after, and that's what I like. That's why we're here. And being able to ski powder day after day and not have to wait for the next snowstorm. This is a different resort than any other resort.
What I like most about Powder Mountain, coming up in the morning and see the new snow, and then the sun coming over it. It's just something that you'll never see anywhere else.
Powder Mountain's popularity continues to grow. skiers can't get enough of the lightest and driest powder North America has to offer. Secluded high above the Ogden Valley, in a unique location that many consider to be one of the most friendly and most beautiful places on Earth.
It's been enjoyable building it. When I saw the people enjoying themselves there, I couldn't help but feel good that we had provided a place where the public could come and enjoy a good, healthy day and have a good time. It justified everything that we'd done. I am tickled to death that I'd done it.